with Catherine Herr, Paul Leffler on sports, and Matt Otstadt with True View Weather.
Paul's back now with another installment of Stories of Service.
You know, each week we focus on local veterans of World War II, and this week it's a Pearl Harbor survivor. I first met Chuck Lishman at Fresno's VA hospital on the 65th anniversary of Japan's surprise attack. Chuck was ringing a bell to honor Pearl Harbor survivors who are no longer with us today. Chuck knows that someday that bell will ring for him too, but he feels extremely fortunate to be where he is today.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
That's the Nevada there with the planes coming in, and where would you have been in relation to what's happening here?
Well, we're right off of Pearl City.
On the wall of Chuck Lishman's coarse gold home is artist Robert Taylor's Remember Pearl Harbor. The signatures of 4 veterans who were on the USS Nevada came on the front of the print. But if you take that frame off the wall, you'll find the signatures of dozens of Pearl Harbor survivors on the back. Chuck and his wife Dorothy have collected those inscriptions over the years at reunions.
But do you realize how many of these fellows that have signed this thing here are either dead or, you know, incapacitated or something now?
But Chuck's still here, and his memory is still sharp. He grew up in Long Beach, enlisting in the Naval Reserve while he was still in high school. His big thrills came practicing in pre-war dive bombers.
I don't know how many G's we were pulling, but it was gee whiz, there was a lot of them.
Called up for active duty in April of 1941, 7 months before the attack on Pearl Harbor, he was assigned to the destroyer minesweeper USS Perry.
Well, I didn't know the Perry from anything else. I looked at the carrier and I thought, man, that's a neat ship. I want to get on that one. Got on this sucker and I walked across 4 decks of those ships before I even knew I'd passed one. I said, where's the Perry? That's the first one. They're only 32 foot wide, you know.
Before the Perry left Long Beach, Chuck had some important business to attend to. He had planned to marry his high school sweetheart when he turned 21, but September was still 3 months away.
I went up to get permission to leave to go to get married. Well, everybody says there's no chance. Oh, Iron Mike, he's not going to give anybody any liberty or leave. So I said, well, I'm going up anyway. So I went up there and he said, okay. He said, I'll give you 3 days, but he said, if you're not back here, you're over the hill. So I tore 100 miles from San Diego up to Long Beach, picked her up, and off we went to Las Vegas and got married. And I got back to the Perry, and the guy said, I don't think he's going to make it. I said, I didn't either. They raised the gang way up there, and I was aboard, and we took the Perry, and we went off, and we escorted the Nevada and the Arizona and the Oklahoma out from Long Beach.
Little did he know that in 6 months' time, 2 of those 3 ships would lie sunken in Pearl Harbor. At the time, Chuck's mind was focused on getting back to his new bride. His 4-year enlistment was almost complete.
My enlistment was up December 3rd of 41. The ship was leaving for the States December 8th, and my enlistment would have been up.
As we all know now, the events of December 7th would alter not just the course of Chuck's life, but the course of our nation. At a Fresno ceremony commemorating the 65th anniversary of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Chuck recalled what he saw that fateful Sunday morning.
Well, I just had breakfast, got up out of the after compartment, went up topside and was standing there talking to one of the fellas. Looked out over and watched the planes hit Ford Island.
Yes.
And I thought, well, you know, maneuvers, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And pretty soon the planes, you know, they scraped the planes and they blew up the hangars and everything was going flying sky high. Man, that big orange ball, and I said, man, no liberty today, the Japanese are here. That's when the war started, right there.
The Perry would get credit for shooting down 1 Japanese plane and sinking a small enemy sub.
I was hauling shells. We were hauling 4-inch shells. We had broadside. You know, we didn't have any anti-aircraft except some 30 caliber machine guns and some 50s. If I'd have had a rifle when those suckers were flying over the top of us, I got to hit one right between the eyes. You know, those 4-inch shells are so dang heavy, you could just about get one to load it in the gun, and I had one under each arm. And that plane came down and strafed us, and I dove behind the stack at that time, and the bullets were ricocheting off, and I looked down there, and I had these 2 4-inch shells I didn't know. I thought, wow, what am I doing with these suckers, you know?
Make yourself a bomb.
The Perry would eventually make it out of the harbor and spend the next several hours on patrol, watching for Japanese ships and submarines.
We didn't find any Japanese. We weren't going to do anything anyway. came back in, and that's when it really hit me. I mean, if anybody ever wanted to cry, that was it. The battleships were burning, the oil was there, and the guys were floating around in that oil, and the stuff was on fire, and you can't believe it, boy. Anyway, I'll never forget that.
He hopes America never forgets either, and Chuck can't forget the countless close calls he experienced in the 4 years that ensued. Participating in 6 naval engagements and 11 landings on the Perry, he was in the fire room in September of 1944 when he got a surprise visit from a Navy lieutenant.
And he happened to be a neighbor of my uncle's there in Long Beach. So he came down to see me on how everything was. It just happened that way. And I told him, I said, you know, this ship is going to go down. I just have a feeling. I've been on it through all of this stuff, but I just have a feeling that this ship is going to go down this trip. Next thing I knew, they came running down there in the fire room, and he said, hey, Lishman, get your gear together. You're going back to the States. After I left that ship, it went up to Paleoloo, got sunk. All the fellows in my section was killed, every one of them. And Brand had taken my place for my section. I got off, he moved into my section, and he got killed.
That happened 3 days after Chuck left the Perry. The ship lay at the bottom of the Pacific for 56 years until dive teams found it in 2000. Attached to the wreckage now is this plaque honoring the 8 men who went down with the Perry. The first name on the list is Joseph Brand, Lishman's replacement. When he looks at what he survived and the growing family he enjoys today, Chuck can come to only one conclusion.
Hey, we've been blessed so far beyond everything we can imagine. Man, howdy, we have been blessed. The Lord is saving me for something, and he better hurry. getting too old for this. Yeah.
What a great story.
He's only 86, so he's got some time. He and his wife Dorothy will celebrate their 66th wedding anniversary this June.
Oh.
He actually had another close call where a torpedo headed for his ship went under it, hit the Saratoga. No one would believe him until he met another local Pearl Harbor survivor, Joe Ruggles, who was on the Saratoga and confirmed that story.
Wow.
Small world.
Yes.
If you have a story that you think we should hear about from a World War II veteran, go to our website, cbs47.tv, or call that number on your screen, 445-0015. More to talk about sports.